Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
The President of the United States.
The U.S. President is Donald Trump.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. As always, my name is ATX Crypto. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. I hope y'all are all having a fantastic day, boys and gals. As always, let's be real, guys. The crypto landscape is absolutely changing right now. This cycle is 100% defying the norm, and we're going to be diving into a little bit of the details today, checking out some charts, having some fun. And guys, it is Wednesday. Today is February 12th of 2025, already halfway through February. So pretty damn crazy stuff. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like the channel on the way in to this stream. Be sure to subscribe if you are not subscribed already. And yeah, we're going to be talking about historically why crypto markets have thrived. And yeah, definitely eras of innovation. This cycle is 100% rewriting the playbook. We are kind of lining up to what 2017 looked like, which, by the way, in crypto market terms, is absolutely freaking bullish. Past bull runs have been absolutely amazing. They have faced some headwinds as well, you know, whether it be setbacks and everything like that. But we are definitely uniquely positioned right now with whether it be just institutional adoption, getting some clarity finally, possibly on some regulations, and of course, the Bitcoin dominance still actually above right now on a pretty damn high ratio, meaning there's a lot of bull market remaining, folks. So I know it may not feel that way. Some people are looking at the altcoin portfolios. If you're in the RH ecosystem over the last week and a half or a month, you've been loving the actual charts right now. Absolutely loving it. So yeah, we're just going to be having some fun, checking some stuff out, having, just chilling, guys. It's Wednesday. You know what I mean? So without further ado, let's just pull up some actual charts real quick, or the actual websites right now. We start off with the easy one, gopulse.com. Again, this is breaking everything down right now. And what is even more interesting, and this doesn't even quite reflect it, is this market cap number down here is actually going to be getting reduced quite a bit because of the actual OA being staked. So right now, if you aren't even familiar with it, the OA actually just recently staked a whole bunch of the daughter addresses, or whatever the case may be, just staked a whole bunch of Hex, folks. And those are some charts I want to get into here in a second. But you can actually see there is 95% Hex being staked on the PulseChain network, 95% essentially being staked on the Ethereum network, and holy freaking cow, guys, even the pools are getting pretty damn low. There's only 249 million Hex available on the Uniswap pools, 500 million Hex available on the PulseX pools, which, by the way, isn't really that much at all. In fact, because of this, the actual market cap of Hex has been dropped drastically. I believe if you actually go to Dex Screener, verify that I'm human. I am human after all. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. So we just go into the PulseChain side, go into the Hex side, and just take a little quick peeky weeky over here. You can actually see the market cap has actually been reduced to $577 million for the market cap. Now, again, I'm not a big market cap guy, never really cared too much about that kind of stuff. But for people who are paying attention to the market cap and saying it can't reach certain prices because XYZ number, right? And people say that all the time. It can't reach that number because they say the market cap would then be into the trillions, right? They always say these kind of things. So when you look at stuff like this, for example, and you see a $2 billion market cap right here on this particular Hex chart right here for this particular market cap, but in reality you actually see it now with the overall Hex being staked at 577. Well, that means if you just look at market cap metrics alone, there's at least another 4x available to run at this point, because you're saying before that it was okay reaching $1.9 billion market cap. And so if it's currently sitting at $500 million for the market cap, well, that would just mean there's essentially another 4x available to go. So look at that ahead of time. You're saying, okay, cool. We're looking at essentially 8-cent hex. And guys, this is when things really start getting bullish, because if you've been able to take advantage of some of these prices, especially over the last several months, you may have been able to accumulate maybe 1 million hex or more. And at the 10-cent level, 1 million hex is $100,000. And for some people, that is their annual salary. And for some people, that's double the average annual salary in the US. And so if you just reach up to 10 cents, which doesn't really seem that far-fetched to me, that's pretty damn bullish, guys. That is absolutely pretty damn bullish. So just keep that in mind of what's going on, right? Especially when we are looking at, different charts right now, right? If we are pulling up, like, say, Bitcoin, for example, on the overall charts right now, what you're going to notice is you're kind of playing in this little range, right? We've been range bound here for quite some time, right? And eventually the market's going to decide which way it wants to go, one way or another. So if we actually just kind of draw, let's just kind of say a quick little horizontal line right here, boom, and I'll even draw another one as well. So we'll just copy and paste that sucker. We have basically been range bound all within this time, really since what, the middle of November, where prices have kind of bounced above, below, above, below, and just kind of playing all within this range. And eventually, guys, it will actually break out of this range. Now, it's more likely that it's going to break out the range to the upside, which would bring us into that next item for where we're kind of predicting things could end up reaching $130,000-$150,000 Bitcoin. And that's just, again, getting started in what we're seeing as well. So checking this out, it is looking pretty damn good. Even on the daily, we actually got CPI news today, which, by the way, the numbers actually came in hotter than expected, right? Everyone was expecting 2.9% CPI. And it actually came back at 3 or 3.4. It actually came back about 0.4% higher, especially year over year and that kind of stuff. And the market would typically actually be selling off with this kind of news, right? Because it seems like inflation's not getting any better, and that just means, heck, rates aren't going to decrease, right? If you actually look at the CME predictions on where we're actually going to be going, it's actually pretty damn crazy, guys. For the Fed Watch, is actually saying that we might not even get a rate cut until October, I believe, was the earliest that I saw, which was like a 44% chance. And even after that, it was roughly into the range of really about December before we actually got that. And so, I'll actually just pull that up real quick so that way everyone can see what I'm talking about. Let me just make it so that way it's nice and easy to see. This is a CME group right here, the Fed Watch tool, and it basically gives you an estimate as to what is going to happen. So come March 19th, when they do the Fed meeting, we are not going to drop rates, right? This is the overall people saying that this is where people are predicting this is going to go. There's a 97.5% chance that we are not going to drop rates. So let's just say ahead of time, we're not dropping rates, guys. Let's just keep that as simple as we possibly can. Now, I actually went all the way down from March to May. Again, 90% chance to maintain the rate. Again, no rate drop in May. So again, we have March, May. Even in June, we're still at 66%, guys. This goes all the way to July. We're still basically maintaining an above 50% ratio right here at 58%. Even looking at September, we finally get pretty damn close where we might get a rate cut. Okay, this is a 42% chance here and a 41% chance we're going to get a 0.25 basis drop. So again, that's all the way out in September, and really by the time October comes is the first time this sucker actually flipped above where we currently are, which, by the way, December actually shows us to be a 40% chance here. So it's basically saying we're not getting a rate cut. We might only end up getting one rate cut. So people, I honestly thought the market would actually have a worse reaction in all reality to this news. I thought this was more, well, here we go. It looks like we're going to be going down a little bit longer than expected. But with the market actually kind of just saying, fuck it. It's time to, let's start pumping some stuff, right? Let's start getting some things going, right? You're seeing the Bitcoin start being at 1.84% up today. You're seeing Ethereum at 3.1 up today. You're seeing Binance up 8%. You're seeing, Phantom up 20%. You're seeing the RH ecosystem green again as well. As a matter of fact, you can look at the crypto bubbles right here, and you can see we got a nice green day once again. Now, this is on the daily. On the weekly, this is looking gorgeous, guys. On the weekly, INC is up pretty damn big at this point in time, up 169%. PulseX up 68%. Even on the monthly, these suckers are all green as well. And so what's even more interesting about like this particular chart is I actually shared this with my Patreon members, right? The Telegram. We actually finally just broke above the line that we have been being suppressed by from the news when the Interpol notice was issued. Again, if y'all don't remember, around this time in December, right? This is when you actually saw December come and Interpol news came about. And they were like, hey, Richard, most wanted. Boom. The freaking market and the ecosystem just tanked. We tried to recover, definitely did not recover all the way, and you saw it dip all the way back down. Well, guys, we have finally broken above this line right here. This is where the news really dropped. This is the Interpol notice right here. And again, PulseX is now sitting above it. 1 second. Should I get the puppy? Either way. I would think either. All right. Okay, so yeah, we actually just broke past the Interpol notice, which, by the way, guys, I've been saying for the longest time, I'm not really gonna start getting bullish on these suckers until we actually start getting above some of the prices that we were actually held back at. And so you can actually see we had a daily close above that, and then today we're actually pumping once again, which is pretty damn bullish if you ask me. Again, we've broken out of this trend line starting really February 7th, which happened to coincide with the RH ecosystem really starting to do several different things. One of the first things that they ended up doing was actually coming in here and reducing the inflation, guys. This inflation INC per second is massive. Back on February 7th, there was a 90% reduction in the INC payout. So if you actually saw in the MasterChef contract, again, you can just go onto the blockchain as well and just type in MasterChef, if I'm not mistaken. You can actually type this in as well and see that we are getting 0.1 INC per second back then. I didn't refresh this page. This was on February 7th. Well, today, that inflation, if I actually refresh it now, has actually gone down to 0.05 INC per second, which is, again, pretty damn bullish. You're actually going to see that number 0.05. So it's actually pretty damn good right here, guys. This is actually one of those things that as I'm just kind of like, checking everything out and just seeing everything as well, kind of how it's looking. Again, 0.05 right here. So this is pretty darn good if you ask me, just kind of checking that out from what I'm seeing. So guys, this is causing the ecosystem for us to actually start pumping. And I made a video about this as well, just released it yesterday. I highly advise. It's about 8 minutes long. It goes into depth and details as to what the benefit of this it really is, especially for long-term holders. Because unfortunately, there were so many people who weren't really contributing to the ecosystem. They had gotten their bags and they have just, been sitting happy eating during this entire time. And for those people who were able to do that and took advantage of it, it was there in order to take advantage of. Congrats, you got it taken advantage of. But those days are now over, right? And so for someone who was in the PulseX farm back in the day, they used to be able to come up with, we'll just say, let me just kind of pull up the numbers as well. You can actually come in here and you can see these farms used to be paying out pretty damn good numbers. Again, if you had $10,000 that you were investing back in the day, this 30-day payout instead of 15 or 21 INC that you were earning during this time, they were actually earning somewhere in the ballpark of about 300 at that point in time, right? Because you can just essentially multiply this sucker out by 15. And so for those people who were, having $100,000 in these farms, again, this is the DYOR Pulse farm, for example. But you can see for someone who was in this farm, they were earning roughly about 200 INC per month. And those people were just doing nothing but selling their INC. And because they didn't contribute to actually buy more capital, buy more tokens, do anything to actually help the network, it suppressed the price substantially. And because of Hart's law, everything being tied together through liquidity, when ink was sold and suppressed, it actually brought down the rest of the ecosystem and suppressed the rest of the ecosystem. So with this recent change of going to the 0.05 ink per second, that's pretty damn good. Why? Because now if someone wants to come in here with some capital, in order for them to make again, back in the day, whenever they had even just $10,000 invested, they were earning 15 times this amount of ink. So they had, back then, you know, this is 21 times 15. That was 315 ink they were earning per month. Again, a lot of the times they were just contributing this. Add a zero to this, and essentially it kind of gives you an idea. If someone had $100,000, they were earning somewhere in the ballpark of 300 and or 3,150, right? Because that's just how the math works out. 212 times 15, they were earning roughly around 3,100 ink per month. Now, a lot of those people, especially when ink was right around this $2 range, they were earning roughly about $6,000 per month, and they would just sell, suppress. They wouldn't buy back the token. They would just cash out, move it into the bank, and they would earn roughly about $36,000 a year by being in this farm, if not more. Well, now with the recent change of 0.05, if you want to come in with this amount and still earn roughly around 3,100 ink per month, then at that point in time, you would have to come up with 15 times more capital. So if you're looking at $100,000 being inside this farm and you wanted to say still be in there to still earn the exact same amount of ink token, you would have to come up with $1.5 million inside this farm now. So it's either, hey, stop dilly-dallying around, put your capital to work, pull your liquidity, use the stable coin that you're using or that you're just sitting there farming with. Again, you can actually go to info and see that the liquidity has been dropping recently as well. Again, back in just December alone, we were at 500 million liquidity being stored inside the PulseX farms, or just LP providing. Now it's sitting closer to 218 million, which is absolutely incredible. So people are now taking their farms, they're deploying their capital because it no longer makes sense for them to be doing that. Guys, the same thing was actually done with Hex as well. Give me 1 second. On the way home, should be home in about 5 minutes. Squared away. Okay, cool. So people were doing the same exact thing with Hex as well, guys. This is something that has been kind of an issue for the last couple of years, right? People stopped buying tokens because they didn't need to. They had enough capital to where they could live off and make a certain sustainable income without needing to deploy or buy more capital. So if you were comfortable with earning $6,000 a month without having to go to work, without having to get a job, without doing anything but simply putting your liquidity into a farm, then those days are over, because now you're only going to get 200 ink in that example. Hex was a similar situation as well before, because what would happen would be you would have someone who would have 500 or 50 million Hex. Okay, this is something that back in the day, this is kind of what was done during that time. So someone would actually come in here with 50 million Hex. Again, they would say, hey, I have 50 million Hex and I'm just going to deploy this for 30 days, right? So they would just stake it for 30 days. Okay, so stake would be 30 days. Okay, during this time, that exact stake that you would end up doing, just to kind of keep it simple overall, let's just kind of figure out how many T-shares they would end up getting first. So you can just simply go to stakehex.today. In this example, I'm just trying to figure out how many T-shares they would end up getting. So let's just say they had 50 million Hex, they did one stake, and it was simply for 30 days. Okay, that would give them roughly about 1,300 T-shares. Okay, that's the number that we need to be paying attention to. So this would actually be putting it at 1,300 T-shares. Okay, and this is how people were kind of living off this income. They would say, hey, I have 1,300 T-shares and I can actually continue to just restake the 30 days here. Now, back in the day, we were earning roughly about 7.8 Hex per T-share. Okay, so like Hex per T-share. I'm just kind of keeping this simple. So that 7.8 Hex per T-share, let's just do the math. 1,300 times 7.8 would be roughly, okay, that was for 1 day. I was like, that doesn't make any sense at all. 1,300 times 7.8, which would be their daily Hex earned, times 30 days, okay? So this particular person would be getting roughly about 300,000 hex per month just by simply staking it for 30 days, not buying any additional hex, not doing anything else like crazy, and even at the 2-cent level, so at 2 cents per hex, right back here, that would still net them roughly about $6,000 per month, 6K per month. That's what they were getting. Now, why would they, if they were comfortable earning $6,000 per month, go buy more hex? Because they have a rolling stake that they can continue to roll and continue to roll and continue to roll and continue to roll and continue to roll. Like, yeah, back in the day when hex was even just 5 times higher, imagine this being 5 times higher. Imagine this being, instead of $6,000 per month, again, being at 0.10 cents per hex back here, they used to end up earning somewhere in the ballpark of about 30K per month just by this simple rolling stake of hex. We had to take a bunch of short breaks. Good person, walking out the driveway now. All right, give me 1 second, y'all. I actually need to go do something real fast with the pup. So give me just 1 moment here. I'm gonna hit you with the Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday. 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 It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. 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 It is Wednesday, my dudes.
I'm back. So, where were we at? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about a 50 million hex being staked for 30 days. They had 1,300 T-shares, on average 7.8 hex per T-share. They were getting about 300,000 hex per month, and they were able to live off 6,000 hex per month. They didn't actually contribute anything else to the ecosystem. They got their hex way back in the day, let's just say in 2019, possibly even 2020. So again, they're still up in profit during this time. Even if they were to sell their hex, they're still up in profit, but they're not buying any additional capital because, guys, they used to be making $30,000 a month. Then back in the day, that, you know, even now they're still making $6,000 a month. And they're like, why would I buy more when I already have all the hex that I need? Well, recently, with the OA staking 95% of the hex out there, the payout per T-share has gone down to 2 hex per T-share, which is massive, y'all. Okay? What this means, to break it down another way, is if this person, for example, this 50 million hex being staked, wanted to actually go and still earn 300,000 hex, again, they're going to get the same amount of T-shares because this is going to be the same. This doesn't change. The T-shares, they're good. They're going to get 1,300 T-shares. The payout per T-share has been slashed almost by 4x or 80%. Another way of saying that. So now they're only getting 2 hex per T-share, which is absolutely incredible. So that same 1,300 being hex times 2 T-shares now times 30 days, they're now only getting 78,000 hex per month. So now they're only getting 78K hex per month. Okay, 78K hex per month. Now, this is a massive difference to where they were previously getting at 300,000. So now, even if it was to, example, reach 2 cents, which it currently is sitting at right now, they're only getting roughly about $1,500 per month on this hex being staked. So now they have a decision. One, they could either sell all of their actual hex that they've been just staking up here, or they can go get a job and go start paying and buying more hex. Heck, if you wanted to still earn 300,000 hex per month, you can. You're just going to have to come up with 4 times the capital. So now you need 200 million hex over here in order to get 300,000 hex per month. That's incredible, y'all. That's incredible. it stops these people who have been nothing but essentially vampires to the ecosystem. You know, like, let's break it down as we can. I know that's tough to say in some cases, but they've been net sellers. And I've been saying this for quite some time. We have net sellers in the ecosystem, and we have a bunch of net sellers in the ecosystem, folks. You can see they either have to now figure out what they want to do. So now for those people who are in those farms, they got to start deploying that capital. They have to. They either have to deploy the capital and work on the price actually going up at this point in time, right? Which would be really darn good for the ecosystem, because now we're seeing a recent pump in all of the tokens. Again, this didn't happen by accident. We've been really going sideways for quite some time, but we haven't seen any sort of big moves like this for quite some time, right? Again, if you were actually buying anywhere down in these levels, which is, you know, my little buy prices that I had pointed out, these are levels that you could have been buying at down here. And when you actually were to hit some of those levels, you're almost up 80%. Again, they got damn near up 2x in 8 days, guys. We've seen moves like this happen extremely fast before in the past. This is very similar to how November felt. If y'all were around in November, this is when you actually would go up. In 27 days, it was roughly up 2.5x during that time. We've almost done that in the span of 8 days, guys. So absolutely freaking bullish. Again, this is just on the PulseX chart. Pulse is falling a little bit behind, I will say. Something to be paying attention to, and I'm just sharing this with everyone here, is it looks like we're going to possibly end up reaching 1-to-1. Guys, this is pretty damn close over here. And I know it may be a little bit difficult to see. Let me just kind of zoom on in right here. Here we go. Oh, it doesn't show me if I'm not zoomed in. Boo. Here we go. So look at this number right here, guys. This is pretty damn crazy. Okay, this right here, 0.0, or this 1 to 1.7, 1.17. I mean, it's essentially saying that PulseX is about to flip PulseChain. Not just flip PulseChain. There could be a day, again, if we actually just pull up the actual PulseChain chart right here, just to keep it a little bit easier overall, PulseX, and just compare it actually against PulseChain real fast. This number is getting pretty damn bullish. Look how far back in the day. This is where we get 1-to-1 right here. We're not too far off right now, and PulseX is absolutely outperforming PulseChain right now. Okay, and has been outperforming PulseChain actually really all the way back here from December of 2023. Right, there's a point in time where you possibly could have done some ratio trades and all that good stuff as well, and possibly ended up over here. But we are breaking past all of the previous highs, all of the previous resistances, and we're actually into essentially price discovery right now, which is, in terms of the crypto world, pretty damn bullish, guys. This is actually something where I do see a potential day where PulseX is actually going to now flip PulseChain. There's just no more doubt in my mind at this point in time, especially being that we are, what, 15% away at this point in time, 17% away, not too far away at this point from reaching 1-to-1 parity. I would love to know what y'all's thoughts are on this. And guys, I hold all the 4 tokens from the RH ecosystem. I got Pulse, I got all 5 technically. I got Pulse, I got PulseX, I got Hex, I got eHex, I got Incentive Token. I want them all, and I'm not trying to bet one against the other, but for my boy Westcott, he got to be loving this right here when you're looking at the PulseX chart performing better than Pulse. This is absolutely freaking bullish, guys. This is something that for those people, and you can see again from February 7th when the market really started getting crazy with it, this is actually up 44% during that time. So some people, and again, this is coming back to that level that we had before, came out here and saw this was a level of support, possibly swapped some of their Pulse for PulseX at this point in time, and now they're up 44% time. So if you wanted to, you could actually swap your PulseX back into Pulse, and you'll have 44% more Pulse at that point in time. So these are moves that can happen. Again, ratio trading is extremely dangerous. I don't advise people to do it unless it's something that you're willing to take on the risk, guys, because it is essentially a risk, okay? That is something that you have to know, but this is really damn bullish, guys. A 1-to-1 ratio, that's not too far away, and it looks like we just made a new all-time high today on this particular chart. And again, we're in price discovery mode. We've never been here Let's just go back all the way to like history of Pulse. This is where it was back in the launch, May of 2023, when it first launched. We were way down here. It was close to 1 to 2. That was as high as it really got during that time. It even bounced here around this time multiple times. 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2. Finally broke out above it, flipped it as a level of support. So when you're looking at some of these levels right here, this was actually a key level, 1 to 2. This is kind of where I actually see if it does want to come back down as another level of support. And guys, we got a lot of support levels as well, right? This is a level of support. This is a level of support. This is clearly a level, and this is obviously a level 2. So pretty damn bullish on this chart just to check everything out. But this is showing that PulseX is actually going to flip PulseChain. Wow. That's pretty crazy, y'all. That's pretty damn crazy, if I do say so myself. And I do say so myself. But anyways, guys, I wanted to share that because I'm fascinated by this stuff, man. I am absolutely, fascinated when you start looking at these charts and comparing them against each other. Basically, everything has been outperforming Pulse. Again, if you just look at the Hex versus Pulse chart as well, essentially everything has been kind of outperforming PulseChain, okay? We're essentially almost into where Hex is actually going to start going into its own price discovery as well. Again, let me just kind of clear some of this up. But it's about to go into its own price discovery as well, which isn't too far away at this point in time. Its price discovery really starts in about 20%. So if Hex continues its rally and outperforms Pulse as it has been, and it looks to continue to do that, then again, it's going to enter its own price discovery as well. So that's pretty crazy stuff, guys. I'm always curious to know what your thoughts are on all of this as well. Again, I'm not advocating ratio trading or anything like that. I don't think anyone should do it unless it's something that you personally are just bored and want to do, or unless you just want to get rinsed and regged because you aren't familiar with how to do it. It's up to you. That is your own choice, guys, at that point in time. But looking at some of these charts, guys, these are pretty damn bullish charts. The incentive token, what I was talking about with the, remember I was talking about the Interpol news days right here. This is the Interpol news right here, back over on December of 21, right? Or December 21 of 2024. We got the Interpol news right here, and bam, we saw the market dip. Well, the incentive token has far passed that level. Again, I said I would get bullish around these levels if we start breaking previous highs. Guys, we were not forming higher highs and higher lows for quite some time. Again, you had the Interpol FUD right here, and it continued a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, and lower high. That doesn't make me bullish when I look at charts like that. Again, if I look at the lows as well, yeah, I had the dip all the way down here, and you could say, yeah, sure, that's a little bit of a higher low, sure. But again, these are, not really how it works. What I look at is I say, okay, cool, that was a low right here. Well, we broke down that low. We broke down that low. Well, shit, that's not really bullish. This is actually bullish at this point in time, guys. We are not too far away from being back above our December levels at this point in time. In fact, the INC token actually ended up touching that. Damn close got to touching this on this particular chart. It basically skimmed it and used that level as a level of resistance. We've seen that level of resistance already right here. So really the next level of bullish levels at this point would really be breaking past that on the next one. We've broken our 786 and the 618 on these charts right here. So again, looking at the charts, pretty darn good bullish structure right now. And the next level that we're going to be looking at for the price going up, for at least for the INC token for now, once we start breaking past really about $4.30, is going to be $6.13 at that point in time, followed by even $9.12. These are the two levels that I would be looking at. We're going to be probably getting a lot of resistance, would be my guess at that point in time, being $6 and being $9. But this is just the beginning because, again, you're seeing things being tied together through liquidity. Now, on the Hex PulseChain charts and on the PulseChain chart itself, we have not broken our previous Interpol FUD at this point in time. Again, Interpol FUD here. Yes, it is forming some bullish structure and some bullish formation, but it's not pumping like crazy. Whoops, I went back too far at this point. It's not pumping like crazy at this point in time for PulseChain. Yes, there's some more additional burning happening. Yes, there's more capital being used. Yes, people are buying it for things like pump.tires, which, by the way, guys, that pump.tire site, this site here, man, I got to be real with y'all. I checked it out. There's a whole terms of use here. Hey, investing is risky, right? If you want to lose money, whatever the case may be. Whenever I looked at this site here, there's just a mess of tokens being launched. Again, there's over 787 pages. at 12 over here. That's a lot of freaking tokens that have gotten launched. Even for these launches over here, I had fun checking some of these charts out just to see how they've been performing and seeing if they've really done anything and see if, hey, there could be a potential over here. Guys, these charts are looking absolutely dog shit, okay? Especially compared against just the core tokens right now. Again, you can pull up any of these charts right here. I'm sure there may be a handful of tokens that I just might have missed over here. But again, whenever I would pull up some of these tokens, like let's just pull up this one, for example, I would type in or copy the contract address. I would just go in here and say, let's just take a little peeky weeky at how this chart has actually performed. So I go in here, I look at the chart, and I'm like, that's fucking trash, dude. Especially for those people who could have been investing into the core tokens. Again, this just happened February 10th. And if you were buying this token back here, I mean, the sucker's down 78%, 72%, 76%. That's what a lot of these tickers look like. And guys, if you just had invested on February 10th, even into PulseChain right here, even again, this isn't anything crazy on this one, by the way, but even just into PulseChain, you'd still be up 10%. I know that's not too crazy. Could have been up 25% just a day ago, 11% here. These numbers aren't too crazy, but it's a hell of a lot better than being down 75%, 76%, 80%. And so we actually also have a nice little cross right here. This is the 8 and 55 using the whole waters above wolf cross at this point in time. That's looking pretty damn bullish for those of y'all who are familiar with this. You can see we got bearish over here, and we definitely went bearish as well. So the 855 EMA or 855 MA at this point in time is absolutely flipping to a bullish structure on PulseChain. This is the same for all the ecosystems, right? If I pull up PulseX, we flip bullish back here. If you pull up on the Hex tokens, we flip bullish as well back there. But you can see we are passing a lot of different levels right now on the Hex chart. We're fighting this 0.618 level, which is going to be 2 cents. This is going to be a level of resistance that we've already been talking about previously. But as I mentioned before, interpol nudus right here, interpol FUD right here. And I really want to start getting back above that, which again would put us back around the 2.3 cent level. And heck, if you really want to start getting more bullish, start passing the 786 level, which again, roughly around 2.5 cents. So it is looking like things are wanting to go bullish, guys. This is absolutely good, great news. If I'm looking at it, you have the wolf cross right here going on a nice bullish move right here. And you can see we have been on a nice bullish move as well. So if we do start passing that 786 and we can really start passing 3 cents as well, which I'm getting pretty damn excited about this stuff as well. Then we're looking at the next level for the first pump to be right around 4.8 cents, which is, again, if you had a million hex, to break it down an easier way, would be roughly around $48,000 as well. And again, if you start going back into the 2618, which is, you know, levels of resistance, then we start looking at the 7 cents level. Guys, this is price numbers that haven't been seen in the Hex chart since launch. Like, we haven't seen that on these charts over here, right? Like the Hex over on PulseChain that got copied never actually got a chance to see anywhere close to these levels. So we're not too far off from going into its own price discovery as well. Again, if I, that's a trash token. I had to laugh. I had to let y'all know. I had to let you see. But if you just go back, and I'll use Deck Screener because it kind of gives us the full chart all the way back in the day, you can see we never actually got past 4.3 cents. That was as high as it got on that particular chart right there. And so if we can start, or should I say when we start passing this 4.3 cent level over here, this is when you start going into price discovery for Hex on PulseChain. And this is actually looking into a nice bullish structure. And guys, I am flipping bullish over here. It's happening, man. I had to let y'all know, and I've just been keeping it real with y'all as well of what's going on. But again, ideally we want to pass this 2.5 cent level first, then we get into past the 4 cent level, and again, then it's just kind of like skies to the moon at that point in time. And just like we've seen on like the Hex chart itself, I'm not going to pull up the actual Hex chart, but just like we've seen on some of those charts as well, this is you know, how it kind of looks, how it kind of works. So I want to know what y'all's thoughts are on all of this, man. I would love to hear what y'all's thoughts are on all of this, because looking at the charts, you know, let's just kind of talk real quick. I didn't even get the chance to pull this one up over here, but looking at these charts over here, one thing we're finally starting to see, and I would love to see this continue, is Bitcoin dominance finally curving down, right? This is something that has been an issue for quite some time. So again, using the same 855 over here for the daily right now, we're seeing the sucker finally start to curve down right here. This is really damn bullish if you ask me. Noise. So this is actually pretty damn bullish right here. This is when you start getting into the areas over here where once we can pass this damn trend line that we've been holding all the way back to 2017, right? This trend line, this big white thick trend line that I had drawn, is going to be a 2017 trend line. Once we can start passing below that, well, then we start looking at the next level that we need to get breakthrough, which is roughly around 60%, which that sucker just blasted past, by the way. And then we start getting more bullish at this point in time. One thing that I'm looking at whenever I'm seeing these particular charts is kind of where it's at. And again, because it's all the way up here, the market has never finished a bull run with the Bitcoin dominance at 50%, 60%. It's never happened. Every single time the bull market's over, it's at least dropping all the way down into this 55, if not even going down into the lower range, which is really about 40 to 35% Bitcoin dominance. So until we really start getting into these ranges over here, you can see how the chart shaped up. This is the Bitcoin dominance from January 1st to May of 2017. This chart right here that you're seeing, this is what it was doing. It was kind of sideways all the way up until roughly about the end of February. And guess where we're going? Toward the end of February. And what could end up happening? We could end up getting this exact same kind of dip if we were to see something like this, which again would bring us all the way toward, let's just kind of say end of February, just for S's and G's. Would put us all the way back over here toward end of February, early March. And then it starts going down. And then, guys, that's whenever it's like, let the pump begin at that point in time, right? Like, let everything go crazy. Let everything start having fun. But yeah, what's crazy is yeah, guys, this is something that has been something I am paying attention to. The Bitcoin or the Ethereum dominance is also finally getting a slightly green candle. Again, nothing to write home to mom about at this point in time. Definitely still on a bearish trend. And again, the trend is your friend until it's not, right? Until it starts flipping. So until Ethereum really starts getting crazy over here, this is kind of what we're looking at. But we are seeing Ethereum finally start to pump a little bit over on the overall networks, right? This is something that, God forbid, if we see Bitcoin hit 100,000 again and Ethereum is lower than 2,600 or 2,700, never good news, right? This is something that I kind of laugh at. But you can see over the past few times of the Ethereum network, being out, or every single time Bitcoin has reached 100,000 at this point in time, it's something that ETH has gone down over and over and over. And so the latest time that Bitcoin ended up hitting $100,000, well, Ethereum was at 2,700. Okay, so I shared this tweet as well. So ETH again, Bitcoin hits 100K. Well, the first time it did it, ETH was at 4K, pretty damn bullish. ETH is at 3,900, ETH is at 3,700, 3,400, 3,000, 2,700. It's like, damn, ETH, you're falling behind. And this is each time Bitcoin has touched 100,000. So ideally this time around, if we get that $100,000 Bitcoin again, which we're not too far away at this point, right? We're all the way up here. This is 100K right here. Ethereum, God forbid, in toward the bullish direction. If it's below 2,700, well, shit, guys, I don't know what to say, right? At that point in time, but we are seeing the overall market cap do pretty damn good. We're overall seeing the crypto landscape do pretty damn good, especially with the bull or bearish CPI news. I really thought that that we would end up having more of a sell-off at that point in time. So let's read some chats. Let's have some coffee. Let me know how y'all are feeling. So what's up? What's shaking, Hexkins? What's happening? Like and share on your way in. Absolutely. Facts on facts. We got toads. We sure do. I can never tell you what to do, but I mean, the fact that the OA and daughter wallets ended up staking out their Hex and were both of the Hex on both of the chains. I mean, I've always been a fan of buying more on the Ethereum side because you can get 4 times the T-shares. And so if there's ever a day, for example, where, yeah, it's at 1 to 4 right now, just kind of pulling up the actual Hex chart over here and just comparing against, Hex versus Hex real fast, just to kind of see how that's been looking, just to kind of compare them against each other. This is something that I've kind of had drawn out, and eHex, has been outperforming Hex on PulseChain since really November at that point in time, right? And so if you were doing any of these little trades or anything during that time, you could essentially have swapped some of your Hex. And again, I'm not a fan of ratio trading. I don't advise it. You eventually just end up getting wrecked. But right now, we're definitely in this little channel right here, this little sideways channel that we're seeing. So if this wants to start breaking out above We've already seen it start getting back into this bullish trend line up here, where I can easily see is going back into the 1-to-2 ratio again, which would put us into this little range up here. So 1-to-2 for the Hex side, which we have seen previously in the past. This is actually the trend line of where it was back in the day. So we have seen these numbers already like this. In fact, we got pretty damn close to reaching 1-to-1 all the way over here. This is a 1-to-0.92 ratio right here. So it was just whenever the kill tweet got sent on March 11th and was like, poof, and then just kind of brought us into a new channel. Okay. And so this new channel has kind of shown that this is where everything's at. But hey, since November, eHex has been outperforming Hex on the PulseChain network. And again, this is a 2x difference in 90 days. So essentially eHex has done a 2x more than Hex over on PulseChain has done during this same time frame right here. Okay. And so if you happen to have swapped some of your Hex over on the PulseChain side into Hex on Ethereum right here, and then you swapped it back right here, you would end up getting 2 times more Hex over on PulseChain by doing that ratio trade right there. Again, ratio trading is extremely tricky. I don't advise it unless it's something that you're familiar with, but we are maintaining this 1-to-5, 1-to-4, 1 to even 6 ratio down here, right? And so it's playing all within this range. You know, should you buy more? I don't know. That's up to you at that point in time at the end of the day. But you know, whenever I'm looking at some of these items over here, again, I'm not just doing it from the price appreciation side of things. I'm doing it for the staking side of things, right? And so like if I go over to hexcalc.net, whoops. Hexcalc. Oh wow, that didn't pull up at all. Hexcalc.net. I'm not even sure what that website was, but you can see this is like the PulseChain Hex side of things. And again, oh man, it's not gonna get me over here. I forget exactly where to end up going to look at. Oh, for PulseChain, there it is, Ethereum. Cool. So let's just say you ended up getting 4 times more Hex again. So let's just say over on PulseChain or over on the Ethereum side, you bought yourself 1 million Hex, okay, and you staked it out 55.55 because you just want to send it at that point in time. Well, at this point in time, you're going to get roughly about 74 T-shares, which is the benefit of Hex. That is the purpose of Hex. Now, if we did that exact same thing, but we did it with the PulseChain network, again, you would only end up getting, let's just say it still did 1 million Hex over here. Like, let's just do apples to apples comparison. You do 55.55 as well, and just look at where it ends up getting. PulseChain. Oh, because the T-share rate's the same. Okay, so it's dollar-wise, I'm tripping. You get 4 times more Hex right here. So you'd end up getting 250,000 Hex over on PulseChain right now versus the 1 million Hex over on the Ethereum side. And the 74 Hex or 74 T-shares you were getting before. Oh, don't fail me now. Feet don't fail me now. Oh no. All right, well, it decided it wanted to freeze. So I'm going to let it do its thing real quick. Go back and get thinking on that one. But essentially, you're going to get 4 times more T-shares. Okay, so like we just do some simple math. 76 divided by 4. Okay, you get 19 T-shares. There you go. Boom. So that's the difference. Again, I'm doing it for the staking mechanism of it. And because you get more Hex and you get more T-shares on the Ethereum side, I'm a fan of the Ethereum network. But hey, I like both, guys. I've said this already in the past. What's up, man? What's up? What's up? What's up? We are pumping for sure, for sure. Yeah, exactly. What's going on? What's happening? Life by Tadlock. What's up, my friend? How you doing? I hope you're having a great day. Academiciate in the house. I think eventually Pulse will be worth a lot more than PulseX. Maybe. That's the interesting concept right there. That's the question right now, because right now the $1 million question that seems to be performing is PulseX is actually outperforming PulseChain, and really has been outperforming PulseChain for quite some time at this point in time. You know, I thought we'd maintain this 1-to-2 ratio, even 1-to-3 ratio, which is pretty damn good. It's getting pretty damn close to a 1-to-1 ratio right now, guys. I pulled up the chart just moments ago, but it's getting really damn close to a 1-to-1 ratio right now. And so let's just kind of, again, pull that up over here and go into the PulseX chart and, you know, share this again. So, yeah. I mean, it looks like, again, we're in price discovery now, which, again, it's never been here before in the history of PulseX, right? It's never been in this range before, but it is looking like it is moving toward a nice bullish number overall, right? And so pretty damn curious. It looks like we might end up getting this 1-to-1 ratio. What happens when it passes 1-to-1 ratio, right? That's something we don't know yet at this point in time. It's never happened before, even from the launch of PulseChain, right? So pretty damn curious, pretty damn crazy. But it does seem like PulseChain or PulseX has been outperforming PulseChain. Again, break this down on the weekly. You can see it's been outperforming PulseChain really since December of 2023, right? And so that's quite some time. And again, if you were just looking from the difference over here, it's essentially a 3.5x difference that you would end up having. So for those people who, once again, swapped their PulseChain for PulseX down here, and then they rode it all the way up to this number up here where it currently sits, and then you could swap back into PulseChain, well, you would end up having 3.5x more PulseChain because of that swap during that time. Is it the best play? Is it the best course of action? Is it the right thing to do? That's up to you to decide. But facts are facts. PulseChain or PulseX is currently outperforming PulseChain. Pretty damn crazy stuff. PulseX is king. There you go. What's up, Red Squirrel? Careful with the PulseChain vacationers. Yeah, dude, for sure. Everything looks like the pump is primed for fat green candles. Yeah, I mean, it really is. Just want to say you are always real positive, or just want to say you are real. Always staying positive. You are loved by the community. Well, it's greatly appreciated for the comment as well. It's crazy, guys. It is crazy. I go through the same emotions that everyone goes through. It's one of those that, we look at all these things that have launched or the things that have happened or the sacrifice time and the time it's taken for anything to really happen. But now at this point in time, it does seem like, again, the confluence right now of everything happening from, we could get judgment from the judge for the SEC case, which would be absolutely bullish, especially, God, please do the judgment on favor, right? If we get a bullish judgment at this point in time, oh my goodness, dude, I can't imagine what that could end up doing to the prices at that point. Fingers crossed. But this is also something that I've said in the past as well. Like, if we do get a bearish news, I want the bearish news to come when we're freaking dipping, not whenever we're like finally starting to rally and finally starting to pump. So God forbid we end up getting something pretty bullish over here. I don't know how much longer it's going to be. I think the trial for the motion to dismiss was October 31st. And I know it's on average 60 to 90 days, but we're way past that at that point in time over here. So I know there was holidays that happened and all that as well. But I've gone through the same thing y'all have, guys. I thought we would be not only above stack price right now, but way past it, right? At 3x, 5x, 10x higher than stack price right now for all of these tokens. Again, I thought Hex wasn't going to ever dip below 10 cents. Well, clearly I was wrong on that one. That sucker dipped well below 10 cents. And heck, it's still below a penny over on the Ethereum network, right now. But just seeing the numbers and just breaking it down and saying, all I have to focus on is quantity of tokens. The number of what the price will be what it is when the time comes. So if I can just amass the largest amount of tokens that I possibly can during this time, that should be my goal. Again, if you started off and you sacrificed for PulseChain and you only got 10 million tokens during that sacrifice because you sacrificed a certain amount of dollars at that point, I think it was $1,000 if I'm not mistaken, would get you roughly about 10 million tokens. Yeah, that would be $1,000 being sacrificed. Well, you've had plenty of time not only to accumulate more than 10 million tokens as well, but also far surpass that, right? Maybe some people could have 10x their bag and got up to 100 million tokens. So yes, prices have been dipping for sure, but the benefit of having more tokens now is now you don't need the numbers to go hit a 10,000x to go do something crazy to become the multi-millionaire. Now you may only need a couple of hundreds of X's or maybe only need a few hundreds of X's, you know what I mean? And so like that's the real benefit of being able to focus on quantity of tokens. That's all that has ever mattered, is how many tokens you have. Because when I've said this in the past, it's how many tokens you have versus whatever price you decide to sell it at in the future. That's all that matters. That's it. Whatever the price is that's going through right now, whatever's happening right now, the stories that have happened in between, the time that it's taken. Yeah, it sucks sitting through it all, especially being a part of the ecosystem and doing things like streaming and sharing this information. It can be somewhat of a, painstaking task. You're like, man, dude, I want prices to just go up. But if you can accumulate a certain amount of tokens, maybe 3x your bag, 5x your bag, 10x your bag, and then you look at it, well, cool. Now instead of 1,000x, I only need to see 100x. or maybe instead of 100x, I only need to see a 10x, because you were able to 10x your bag in order to get the same thing that would have happened at the 100x. What's even more beneficial about this is, even if you just needed a 10x and that sucker still does 100x, you are sitting that much prettier as well. And these numbers are absolutely freaking awesome to end up seeing, guys. These are you know, some things that have happened as well, but this is just kind of like sharing a couple of screenshots that have been happening, right? This is actually coming from Chiefy over here. Historic all season starts in 5 days, which actually puts us right in the, you know, kind of like, you know, this February 14th time frame, somewhere in this time frame. This is when you start seeing things really start going crazy. You get 500 days of kind of like sideways, 500 days of bullish, 500 days sideways, 500 days of bullish, that kind of stuff. And it's looking like, again, this is actually happening once again. By the way, I wouldn't mess with this, but like, this is a tornado cash fork on ZK, ZX or whatever nonsense. Personally, I wouldn't do that. It's like download to the app to the main site. Fuck that, dude. Forget that kind of nonsense as well, dude. Like, I'm sure you want to have some censorship resistance, sure, but what, like, no, no, I ain't downloading shit. We actually have, once again, this is where you actually end up getting like every alt season, you know, kind of actually kicks off starting in February 14th. This is a pretty weird, crazy bullish post, and we're about 2 days away from this as well. Every alt season has kicked off on the same day. He's saying this time will be no different, you know, and this is something that you can see the actual chart as well, right? This is actually pulling up, you know, February 14th all the way back over here. 2017, we went massively bullish starting that time frame. February 14th, 2021, massively bullish in that time frame. February 14th, where we're actually looking right now, and possibly 2025. Well, what could end up happening over here, right? We just have to wait and see. But this is kind of what has been showing up to be a thing during that time as well. So I wanted to share some of these with y'all as well, and you can see this is actually a pretty good notice as well. This is coming from Sheldon Sniper over on the Rand, the Rand. I don't even remember the freaking network, dude. I'm like drawing a blank on it right now, but I'm sure y'all know what network I'm talking about with Rand Newmar. So he's actually saying down here that every single time the CPI is, you know, end up coming out, it's been the bottom of the market right here. So this is all the CPI release dates down here, and you can see it's been the bottom of the market. And then from the CPI, we went up. From the CPI, we went up. What's funny about the actual charts right now is, dude, the numbers are going up right now, guys. This is like, you can't argue with the facts right here. The numbers are going up right now, right? Bitcoin's moving, Ethereum's pumping as well. You're seeing a lot of these tokens start moving as well. Again, some of these tokens that have been kind of dead for some time, Phantom moving as well. These tokens have been kind of sideways for some period of time. You know, looking at like even Sui and all these other different networks and all these other different tokens, things are getting pretty damn bullish, which good stuff, guys. Good stuff is just coming right around the corner. The dollar is finally losing some strength as well. We're seeing this actually possibly begin to cross on a bearish wolf cross right here. Again, that 8 versus 15 MA that we talked about just moments ago. If we see that cross below right here, which could just be actually coming, guess what? Around February 14th, you know, that could be the first sign of actually getting pretty darn bullish in the ecosystem, and seeing once the dollar starts losing its strength, we actually start pumping in the ecosystem. So we don't necessarily need to go into quantitative easing. We just need things to play out in a certain way to really start this market going. But yeah, I mean, hopefully that gives everyone some like insight as to what's kind of going on. I'm just sharing, you know, my thoughts, my 2 cents on this as well. Smash the like, great stream, appreciate that. Crypto banter, thank you, Chaos. My gosh, dude, I was drawing a blank. Crypto banter, that was exactly the stream I was talking about moments ago. Thanks to streamers like you and Seven kept me on track, DCAing to the bear, not looking at the dollar amount, but the amount of tokens. Thank you. Appreciate you too, man. Appreciate the comment. I can have difficulty seeing the giant green bubbles floating around my head. Yeah, he literally pops the bubbles every single time. Again, he pulls up crypto bubbles right here, and I'll just get off like favorites real fast just to kind of show y'all. But he pulls up bubbles like this, and he's like, you know, let's just pull up the top 100 or whatever. Let's just kind of go in here. And he goes in here and he's like, well, I don't really see what's happening right now. I mean, the market's kind of down right now, and we, you know, everything's just kind of red. And then you look at it and you're like, oh, well, Hex is up 67%. PulseX is up 76%, right? You're seeing PulseChain up 26%. You're seeing a whole bunch of red tokens all across the same thing right here. And granted, this is on the monthly right here. What's even funnier is when you like finally we're green, which is crazy. We're actually green on a lot of these candles as well. But look at the weekly, guys. This is something that he looks at some of these candles overall and he's like, oh, PulseX, like, What do you got going on? Oh, 68%. Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, Hex up 83% on the weekly. Oh, I don't know about that. PulseChain up 18% on the weekly. Oh, I don't know about that. And then he comes in here and he pops it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, dude, it's funny. I think it's absolutely hilarious whenever I see that kind of stuff. But hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's kind of how he does it. But I do my favorites. I look at this. This is all that I really care about in the first place. So I could care less about what's happening in all the other with all the other tokens. This is just something that I'm sharing with everyone, guys. But yeah, just checking it all out. This is looking pretty damn bullish, y'all. This is looking pretty damn bullish from all the charts that I'm seeing. Right, we got all that wolf cross happening with, again, the 8 and 55 MA doing all that cross right here. Bullish as well. We got PulseX bullish as well. We have PEX bullish as well. Like, all these charts are flipping bullish. We're just moving on to that next level of where we're going to be pumping, guys. And once we start passing certain key levels, again, this is when you start getting into that price discovery mode. This is when you start seeing 4-cent Hex again, 5-cent Hex again, 8-cent Hex again, all up here. Again, these are pretty good numbers, but folks. If you got yourself a million Hex during this entire time and you reach 4.8 cents, that's $48,000 that you've been able to accumulate, especially if you were some of the people who were buying all the way back down here during this time. Okay? This is just like letting you know. 0.003. If you bought a million Hex at that point in time, it may have cost you $3,500 during that time to get a million Hex. Cool. Now it reaches 4.8 cents and you're looking at $48,000 at that point in time. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. That's why you continue to buy. That's all that matters, is how many tokens you have at the end of the day, folks. All that matters, how many tokens you have at the end of the day. That's it. Prices are going to do what prices do. Prices are going to be brutal, and the market will oftentimes be crazier longer than you can actually stay sane. Okay? But this is the way to get it done, right? 800 million PulseX would be nice to have. Yeah, dude. Good number, right? Rain will be popping bubbles. What up, ATX? Thanks for streaming. Appreciate it. Now that is a nice screen. Facts on facts, dude. So guys, this is kind of what I was saying, right? Be sure to, as always, smash the like button on the way in, right? Smash the like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Let's get it, guys. This is where we are absolutely starting to change the game right now. We are finally starting to move toward that green candle that we've been waiting for at this point in time. And really, it's just like I'm starting to flip bullish, man. I know there's still a few different tokens that really got to get past some key levels for me to really just go like mad bullish at this point in time, but it's not too far away. And so I wanted to share with all of that with every single one of y'all. I wanted to get your thoughts on all of this as well. I wanted to have some chats in the comments. So if you do have some interesting thoughts, I'm always curious to know what your thoughts are on all of this as well. Other than that, folks, I want everyone, as always, to have a wonderful week. I'm going to try to do these little quick daily video type deals where I may post something, may not be daily, maybe a little bit of time, but if you're enjoying the content, definitely come and subscribe to the channel for more. I'll catch every single one of y'all in the next one. Peace out, y'all.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague, we all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy.